What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 95 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Karl Franz campaign. So as we saw last time, sorry about that, we had the last stand of Immel and the random little armies, though Hans von Sigurd did manage to survive. Why do you have an obsidian amulet? I didn't think that you guys had any items, but, well, I guess you had that. At least we have these troops remaining, though they were all basic, and none of those troops really mattered. In addition to that, we also had, where are we here? Here we go. Reichsmarshal Kurt Helborg had himself another battle. Though his army was badly damaged, he managed to intercept the clan Ferric and believe destroyed their army. I'm not even sure that they have more than one army, so that might have completely screwed the faction over, especially considering they only have these 3 territories, and if it did, well, wouldn't that just be lovely? In fact, Kurt, you can start moving towards them. Cross the river. Looks like you can cross the river here, right? I think so. I can't quite tell. Why would you not be able to cross here, but you... I'm just going to assume that you can cross the... Oh, wait. Oh, this doesn't... Huh. This is all ruins, but if we go here, it maybe counts as this... I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but you're gonna go here. Anyway, there we go, and I guess you can... Yeah, okay, so it'll still take multiple turns to get to Tribe Slaughter, unfortunately, but we do... have full HP, or we will have full HP by the time we get there. In fact, here's another thought. You, Heinz Weber, are gonna go right here. We might actually finally have a use for you. And with you guys both moving around here, maybe we can conquer one of these places and then move and then save a turn by having Heinz Weber occupy the place, rather than having Kurt himself do it. Anyway, in this particular episode, we have a lot, and I mean a lot, of battles to choose from. We probably won't take them all, as in some of them will be better than others, but like, for example, there's a full stack with a full, well, the half stack here and a half garrison here, so a dual stack for Balthazar Gelt to be getting on with. Then there is the armies defending the Forbidden Citadel, probably the last difficult fight of the Winter Tooth, as they will soon be broken. Those will definitely be fought, though I don't know about others. Let's start. Let's begin. What do we have here? Karl, you're first. Well, yeah, okay, fine. If we're doing it in order, then yeah, Karl's first. What do we have in this army? I don't know. Let's find out. If it's a good stack, then we'll fight with Karl. If not, then we'll just let it, we'll just auto-resolve it. If we can actually catch it, that I'm also not sure about, but let's give it a try. Don't bother calling allies to help, like so. And then this should be the only... Okay, no, this is... this is trash. Yeah, there's no need to fight this. Don't run too far. Okay, no, we're good, we're good, we're good. Ooh, I was a little bit scared there for a second. Alright, no peace, just war. Kill off the little pathetic stack, and while you guys may be waiting for a battle with Karl, we'll be getting one against Archaon at the Howling Citadel, as this is his last territory. So Karl, keep moving. Gonna suffer a little bit of attrition, but then you can move here, heal, and then hit the Howling Citadel right after. Oh, I guess there wasn't really any need to go into this stance, was there? No, well, whatever. Yeah, we won't be able to reach this in one round anyway, so that is just fine. Alrighty, well, Archaon, you have time to prepare. We can actually move Rupert Puttkamer over there, or at least close to it, just to see what Archaon is doing. Next up, Gregor Rodziner. You were supposed to help guard against Silostra's stuff, and you know what? I think we're going to actually send you to the Isle of Wight. Just gotta make sure that we stay away from Silostra herself. Oh wow, she can move far. I wonder, would you be reachable here? Maybe. It's hard to say. You know what? Go this way. Go through Elysia. I don't trust it. And we're gonna sail you up here. There is a little stack out here belonging to Beatrice Worsley. I guess what we'll do is get a couple mortar... Ooh. Do we get the mortars here against this? It's a single stack, or do we build them southward for the defense against Rakarth? Both of those are gonna be, They're both going to be an issue, potentially. You know what? I don't know. What I do know is that we're liable to have 2 battles this episode, and thus we should take one right now. Let's do this one. This one I think will be a pretty fun one, so that's where we'll start. You have Military Heritage Vanguard, you have Sharpshooter, you do not have Stand Your Ground or Artillery Master. Artillery Master would benefit everybody probably more than Stand Your Ground would, so we're going to start with that. Also... You don't have Brass Lung, but you do have Hold the Line, okay, so you're fine, you're fine. You can have another spell, though I'm not sure we'll keep Ulrich Ivan the Crazy. Too many Kurts, man. I'm not sure we'll keep him in this army, but we're gonna have to wait and see. We should also probably move towards improved scrying techniques, because we want those on everybody, but for now, just get scouting. And there you go. You, Boris, do not need levels. Do these guys? They need a little bit in the way of levels. You... Are you going to be an infantry captain, or are you going to be a cavalry captain, I guess is the question. Well, the infantry will probably benefit from melee defense, but... well, it's also not that much. And on top of that, it's one defending, and then let's face it, this army is not going to be defending a lot. That's certainly a fact. You know what? I will think about it. I might just go for 10 of the war horses. In the meantime, let's just get Blade Shield and try to move towards Deadly Onslaught, and then get you, I guess, Scarred Veteran as well. You, Mr. Amber Wizard named Delete. Why did I call you Delete? Oh, because we were going to replace you with a better one. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna keep. I know I've said this before, but I find the fact that we've had him for a while and his name is just Delete kind of funny. You should have probably Flock of Doom for this battle maxed out, because you're going to be causing a lot of damage with it, or using it a lot. I don't know about a lot of damage. Maybe that. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but we'll see. 3 more levels until Soulfire, but oh well. Alright, next up we will move you, Boris, right out here. It's been a while since you fought, after all. Right out here, near to these guys, and let's go. Okay, you can move in stance. Let's hope that they're willing to fight. Please, 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 sally out. Sally out, don't run, you little... Okay, good. What are we facing off against here? A couple of War Mammoths, we've got some, another Frostworm, we got Norscan Trolls, and yeah, some decent stuff. Nothing too crazy, but it should be a fun battle by the looks of it, and we're most definitely gonna fight it. Here we go.
Raise your weapons!
Weapons are raised, friendo. Here we go. Forbidden Citadel. This should be a pretty interesting fight, especially with the 2 combined armies, though the battle will begin with just our Outriders firing away at the single enemy lord here, until his reinforcements arrive, which are the main units that need to be fought. Alright, he is going to be out of here in a very short order. He does have a missile attack of his own, which is keeping him here to fire at us, but obviously he's not going to win in a firefight against 2 units of Outriders. Otherwise, we are going to take this time to get into the best position that we can. There's a nice hill out here and a sort of impassable terrain a bit out here, and this cliffside, or several cliffs, that's a little bit close to the corner of the map, which is all the way out here, but still sort of in the center. So not a huge deal there, and it is the best position, so we're most definitely going to take it. Reinforcements are coming in 40 seconds, and I'm just going to speed it up while we get there, and we're not going to bother chasing down the enemy lord because we want to, well, we don't really care. Alrighty, and there we go. Enemy reinforcements have arrived, our bombardment is going to begin, and Boris has arrived on the field as well. Gonna be interesting to see some combined action from both of these armies, which are very, very different from each other. The all-gun army versus the all-melee army, essentially. Alright, well, now it's time to see how many of the aerial units we can damage. Our Our rocket batteries are actually firing, or were firing, at the Manticore here, but this is just fine. Oftentimes, the enemy aerial units are moving around in front of the enemy army, and even though the rocket batteries wouldn't have been able to reach the enemy army at first, they then began to be able to land a few shots into the infantry by virtue of missing the Manticore, so that works. The enemy has also arrived with 2 War Mammoths, and we are going to target both of our cannons at said War Mammoths in the hopes of damaging them a little bit. They are also going to do the dance, not the Mammoths but the infantry, to try to avoid the rocket battery fire, but this is just going to keep them here, and not going to go so in their way. Our own reinforcements need to take a fairly decent amount of time to get to where they need to be in position, so it's just fine if the enemy is going to stay back like this. And it looks like the rocket batteries are certainly dishing it out. One of the Marauder Hunters with javelins is pretty much done for, and we are now going to try to target the more valuable enemy units like these Marauder Champions here, which would be pretty darn good in melee. Can't underestimate those units. Even if Norska isn't known for their infantry, mostly due to the weakness of the basic Marauders. You gotta love Hellstorms, and let's see how those Mammoths are doing. They really haven't lost a lot of HP, but, you know, cannons are garbage, so that is, well, let's just say it's hardly surprising. We might be able to route a few more units off the field. There we go, that Marauder Champion unit is now routing, though I suppose the question is whether it's actually a good thing that they route here and run off the field or not, in the sense that if we don't do enough damage to them, they'll be back to fight another day. Either way, ooh, this is a big formation of enemies here, but well, and hello. It looks like one of the enemy Marauder Chieftains has decided to send its Mammoth in by itself. Well, it's going to get surrounded by an Empire Captain, and by Boris, and by Kurt Haldenstrat all together, and I don't imagine they'll have too much trouble bringing it down, especially if we send some Knights of the White Wolf to help, which are moving in as well. And that's a nice Mammoth mount you got there, buddy. Let's see if it is going to stand up to the Griffin there. And ooh, looks like the Chieftain has called for help in the form of some Marauder horses, but the Knights of the White Wolf are probably the superior form of help. Ooh, and a Manticore comes in as well. All right, now we've got ourselves an actual fight here. Haven't seen nearly enough of the Knights of the White Wolf in this campaign as yet, so it'll be nice to watch them hammer away at their foes. Alright, and we got Trolls and Fimir. The monsters have come out. So Manticore, Trolls, Fimir, and the War Mammoth / Chieftain here. Alright, great job to them, and ooh, Fire Breath coming in from the enemy Frostworm as the enemy army has finally decided to get annoyed enough to head towards us. That said, our rocket batteries are absolutely cleaning house here, dishing out, let's see, 216 damage, or kills, and 50k damage, and you are up to 101 and 40k. Not too bad at all. Looks like an enemy Manticore has managed to move in past our line of Hochland long rifles, perhaps because they're going to be targeting the enemy Frostworm instead. It's a more important target, though it would have been nice to kill it off before it got that Frost Breath off. At least it'll get knocked out of the air fairly quickly, though it looks like it'll crush a few of those Swords of Ulrich. Oh, and is this the first time we're seeing the summoned unit of Swords of Ulrich? I don't know. I'm not sure. Nice looking unit. Oh, I like that they have Night Helms. I guess this was a unit created via combining various pieces of, well, I guess that's generally the case for modded units at a lot of the times, I should say. But this does work. The Ulrich shields, the helm, very nice. Very nice. Well, let's see how long they can hold. They are a summoned unit, so they are out front, and thus we will allow them to take damage. On the bright side, though, they just need to hold ground while our Hochland long rifles rip the enemy apart, like this enemy Mirg here. Alright, looks like just like that chieftain on the War Mammoth, the enemy will sacrifice yet another lord. Speaking of sacrificing mammoths, another mammoth has moved its way in to attack our summoned halberdiers, but between the cannons and the Hochland long rifles, we should be able to bring this one down as well. And then there's another one. Alright, how many monsters can we bring down with our rifles? Still got a decent amount of HP though, but probably not for long as it begins to rout. Lovely. Or shatter, I should say. This one is done for. Oh, let's watch the death animation. Alright, come on, a few more shots in there, or did they switch fire to the other one? They may have had to switch fire to units that are still moving. Oh, they brought down the other one, my bad. I remember that they brought one of them down, but I couldn't remember which one it was. Oh well. Well, most of the enemy infantry are now routing, and in fact, the monsters that were fighting the Knights of the White Wolf are in horrible shape and will shatter themselves as well. Lovely. That was most definitely the guns show. Yeah, we got some nice fighting from the Knights of the White Wolf here on the flank against those monsters, but it was the Hochland long rifles and the artillery that really cleaned house. Alrighty, now we do need to make sure that we chase down the enemy as best we can. Unfortunately, for this particular purpose, the Knights of the White Wolf should be fairly adept. Alright. Let's hope that we can catch enough of the enemy that we won't have to, that we'll be able to auto-resolve the settlement. Obviously, normally Kurt Haldenstrat's army would not be able to catch the units at all because, well, it doesn't have any capability of doing so once the enemy is out of range of its long rifles and its guns. Anyway, let's speed this up and see what we can do. Oh, we do have the Outriders from that army to help chase, and there we go, they've knocked down a few of those units. Knights of the White Wolf gonna go after you, though we gotta be careful with our own Outriders and our heavy war sled, our one single heavy war sled, ever since that nonsense got it killed before, since they can kill off knights if we're not careful. Your masters do desert you, and so do your monsters, your masters and your monsters. Alright. A lovely little win. We should try to get a few more of these sort of battles where we combine two armies going, and I don't mean the normal thing that we do where we use a follower army together with a main army, but two, like, main armies. Considering the different style of tactics these two armies employ, it's pretty fun using them together. Anyway, there we go, decisive victory for Kurt and for Boris, as he has finally returned to the fray. Well, 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 look at all the things Kurt can do when the auto-resolve doesn't randomly kill off one of his war sleds. Fantastic. Lots and lots of damage on the Hellstorms, but that is hardly surprising. They're pretty amazing, but the cannons actually surprisingly did fairly well as well. And then as soon as the enemy closed the distance, those Hochland long rifles just ripped into them, bringing down the single entities with relative ease, and not even really letting the bordermen get to work there. I guess we didn't need them this time around, but that's partly because we had the cavalry working for us on the sidelines, and why Kurt needs a follower army with a bunch of Outriders and war wagons like everybody else has gotten at this point. We'll get him one eventually. I guess the difficulty will be actually building one close by. Maybe we should actually start by building one and slowly start sending it up north. Anyway, we're going to, I guess, execute the captives. And then we're going to take the Forbidden Citadel. Oh, you're going to survive? Yeah, but you're going to have to run away, no doubt. Let's see, enemy killed in battle. A sort of anti-heroes for Kurt. We could probably do better than that. Hey, a student. Always a nice pickup. And I keep the sort of anti-heroes for now. I'll probably swap it out with something else. The thing is, he should still not be fighting in melee all that often, but we'll see. Anyway, auto-resolve. Let's hope that the auto-resolve doesn't screw our war sleds over. Of course it killed one. 97 units lost, and it had to be one of the war sleds. Every damn time. Oh well, occupy the Forbidden Citadel. Hey, a Griffin banner as well. Some nice finds and a second student. Very nice finds this episode. It's lovely to see. Next up, what I want you to do is grab yourself another Hochland long rifle. You're at 19 out of 20 after all with the loss of that war sleds. We could do another borderman as well. I'm just wondering whether we should bother with compare the stats of the Free Company militia and the bordermen. I mean, in terms of melee, they're still going to be worth. Wow, free company militia costs 9. 9. They put the free in free company militia. Nearly free, anyway. That's less than a coin per. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna split the coin in such a manner, but anyway, let's see. The bordermen, yeah, I'm just wondering whether we should get them in here or another army. And if it's another army, which army, I guess, is another question. I'll think about it. We can wait a turn or maybe until a next episode or something, but we will definitely get the other long rifle in here, as this is the rifle army, and thus it should have, well, the best rifles. We could also, over time, replace some of these units with null iron sides and tanks, but it's still gonna take a while to get there, but it's getting there. I'm starting to love seeing these Imperial armies now that we have the have access to all the fancy stuff that we didn't throughout the early campaign. Anyway, let's continue. Who needs to move now? Wolfram Custerman. Ah, yes, all of you will need to continue moving southward, still being careful, mind you, but, you know.
In his name.
We've got a lot of Tzeentchens to attack for being incredibly annoying. And wait. Volky, can you? Yes, you can. Well, no, you can't. You can and you can't, in the sense that you can reach him, but you probably can't catch him as he's going to run. But nonetheless, we'll head out this way and back into the shallows. Fantastic. And then I guess Arndt Frankenmurder is also going to he's going to follow Volky around as well, so just move right there and you two can defend each other. I doubt that Ra is going to attack them. I sincerely doubt it. And in the meantime, Peter, if we put you into regular stance, would you be able to land here? I can't quite tell, but it looks like you are. And you know what? If that's the case, we're going to land at Dawn's Light. It looks like it hasn't been corrupted enough yet for Tzeentchen corruption. So we're going to land here and hopefully take it and then trade it to our allies. Unless they can take it themselves, but you know, somehow I doubt it. The competence of High Elves leaves something to be desired in this particular case. Next up is my Malekith showing. Gregor. Let's see, who else needs to move? Well, if we want to fight another battle, we're going to run out of time unless we start doing so. First of all, let's start building another follower army. 0. Oh, isn't that lovely? We'll build another follower army, start with a bunch of war wagons. I don't know, 6 and 2, and then we'll probably build some more. You know what? Go 4. 4 and 4, and then we'll see about the Pistoliers and the other units. I just wanted to make sure that these ones that take 2 turns would be started right now. In fact, you know what? Let's do like that. Though I kind of like the Pistoliers more than the Outriders, mostly because, I don't know, it feels like, whereas the Pistoliers can at least kite, the Outriders are stuck, and they're slower as well, so if they're not actually shooting, they're not doing any damage, right? But anyway, we'll start with this, and this is not going to cost us really anything. Anyway, what was the other battle that we were gonna do this episode if we were going to do 2? I forget which one because there were so many to choose from. I guess it was gonna be Gelt's, wasn't it? I think it is. Alright, well, it looks like it's going to be a very gun-filled episode, as Gelt will also have plenty of guns and artillery to go around. Head to the Sun Pit, and let's see if these guys can hold. Though somehow I doubt it. Close victory, and look at that, they have their own artillery, 3 Eagle Claw Bolters, 4 Eagle Claw Bolters, though whether they can face off against our own artillery pieces, I once again sincerely doubt. Here we go. Alrighty, here we go. If you thought Kurt Heldenstrat's Hochland long rifles and artillery were sufficient, or that was enough guns for you, well, you were wrong, because here we go, and ooh, the steam tanks together with the Eldred's Guard look pretty fantastic. Though the Eldred's Guard look pretty fantastic in general. It is a pretty darn nice unit, and this whole army in general is pretty darn cool looking. It's such an imperial-looking army. And I'm so glad that we finally have these steam tanks. I honestly think it was kind of a mistake for SFO to remove the steam tank elector state troops that you have access to, as somebody noted, the Emperor's Wrath steam tank, as it would have been nice to have earlier access to steam tanks for the entire roster. But anyway, we've got lots of guns firing cannons, we got Hellblaster volley guns in decent numbers, and rocket batteries. Let's see what we can do to the Elven army, and all of these units are going to be very effective here. Alright, and Gelt's going to start, and the enemy are... that looks like a Hellblaster volley gun hit onto the enemy infantry. Ouch. You gotta love those Hellblasters. They're good at everything, which is great. I feel like the Hellblaster really does a is sort of like the pinnacle of the Empire stuff, because, you know, the Empire being a jack of all trades faction, and the fact that the Hellblaster can do a little bit of everything and just fine. And I guess so can the steam tank in many ways. But I mean, for an artillery piece, the Hellblaster. Anyway, the enemy is having a pretty rough time of it, and the battle has barely begun as they have moved forward. The enemy noble is heading directly towards our line, and now we're going to focus it with both of our units of Hellblasters. Hellblasters are pretty darn good at this sort of thing, and oh man, you know, they say don't cross your beams, but the two Luminarchs knock that enemy lord out at the same time, or that noble out at the same time. What a fantastic shot, and the fact that they both fired at it together. Anyway, was not expecting that, but I'm very happy we got to see it. Over on this side, we have some eagles moving in, and we caught them in the air with our Pegasus and or Pegasi rather, as well as our Knight Captain. I do want to replace these Pegasi eventually with Royal Pegasus Knights, but I believe still none of our Bretonnian allies have access to them, so unfortunate, but what can you do? Looks like some of the enemy range units are finally getting in range, but I'm not sure that's going to help them all that much. Enemy spellcaster. Is it really the spellcaster that you have to be worried about here? Well, I guess it is Gelt, so to some degree, yes. But to another degree, no. Anyway, let's see what's going on. The enemy has not really reached our main line yet. We've popped a net of Ammontalk on a couple of units of Silverhelms and a Noble that headed out to this side so that we can move some other units to intercept them, i.e. more Eldred's Guard and one of our steam tanks. The steam tanks will of course be able to fight in melee as well, not just in range. And hello Silverhelms, looks like you're gonna have to deal with the Eldred's Guard now. I really love the lighting on this map as well. We can see everything very well, it's not dark. And since we're getting some glorious shots here, this is very appropriate. Alright, well, Eldred's Guard hold the line, but our artillery will keep firing at the enemy as they, well, continue to try to draw closer. Looks like the Hellblasters have been trying to focus down the enemy Archmage Bellakai, and are doing a pretty fantastic job of it as well. Look at all those little shots from the Hellblasters come in. And granted, a decent amount of them will miss, but they're really quite good at sniping lords. There we go. And that mage was nowhere near our main line. Here come a few more enemies. We're going to move our steam tank out to intercept the big blob of them, and then continue dishing out damage with our artillery, both magical and mundane. Alrighty, Gelt lands to get a few of those physical blows in. Some white lines look like they want to fight, or looked like they wanted to fight a few of our own infantry units, but it doesn't look like that's working out so well for them. Outriders dishing out damage with their grenades. Here comes a Soulfire as the Warrior Priest leads these units of Eldred's Guard, and it looks like most of the enemy army is now backing off. Oh, what a fantastic battle. We're really getting some good battles in the latter portion of this campaign, aren't we? I've been really enjoying these lately. Glorious. Anyway, let's continue. Gelt is now moving in over here. Gonna cast a few more spells. A Searing Doom on the pile of enemies here. He has to keep pace with the tanks and the artillery, after all. Shot from the tank coming in as well. Illuminar gonna fire on the enemy lord. And that looks like a direct hit, and there's some Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Will the enemy be able to close in with the steam tank? Brave spearmen running at a tank with a spear. Oh, the way they went flying and got knocked back. And I do believe that the enemy army will shatter. Not the longest battle, mind you, only about 4 minutes long, but, well, it looks like they really couldn't do much. We really didn't need another army to help Gelt's army out. And hey, the enemy lord did in fact drop to those Luminarchs or Hellblasters. I'm not sure who did the sniping, but, well, everyone's effective at sniping here. Except for the regular cannons, I guess. Which, funnily enough, they should be good at, but you know, cannons, they're cannons. I'm still enjoying those Hellblasters firing away. Oh, those poor white lions. They never seem to get a chance to shine. Next time I run High Elves, I definitely gotta build a very White Lion-centric army just to give them some love. Although they're obviously in a lot better place than they were in their original release when everybody hated them, and then obviously in an even better place in SFO. Anyway, there we go, a heroic victory as the ingenuity of the Empire outdoes the nonsense of the High Elves. Oh, alrighty, aren't the battles getting good so late into the campaign, and it's pretty darn glorious. Tanks did respectably 15k and 8.5k damage apiece. Gelt himself got 55k, which is quite lovely, nearly 20k on each of the Outriders. Obviously the Hellstorms cleaned house, but they always clean house. And then lastly, those Hellblasters, 24 and 27k damage. They make the cannons look like absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Not only did they do 5 times as much damage, each one did 5 times as much damage as the cannons, despite not even being rank 7 and thus benefiting from the extra buffs, but on top of that, they're good against everything. They kill giant units, they destroy the enemy eagles, they destroy enemy infantry, they destroy enemy tiny targets like nobles, just snipe them, kill lords, kill heroes, kill single entities, cavalry, infantry, what have you. Cannons, on the other hand, are bad against everything. It's funny, but it's sad. It's a little sad. I wish cannons were just a little bit better. I feel like things like cannons, what they need to do is they need to give them like a massive anti-large bonus, like only anti-large, but like, I don't know, like plus 500 anti-large damage or something like that. And I mean, I'm basing that off the fact that I think their regular damage is like 1,000 or something like that. Let's double check that. Well, either way, just like a, I don't know, 1.5 times as much damage dealt, but to large units only. They'd still be absolute trash against infantry, but then when you're using them against cavalry and other larger units, they'd at least be a lot better and still worth bringing to a degree. Because currently they don't really fit their own niche. It's very weird. And depending on the enemy cavalry unit, if they're lightly armored, the Hellblasters, the Hellstorm rocket batteries are actually even better against cavalry than the cannons are. And I will grant that cannons are tier 2 artillery, where Hellblasters are tier 3, but nonetheless, damn, Hellblasters are good. We gotta get them in more armies. If it wasn't for the fact that I love the variety, I'd probably just replace all cannons everywhere, just because, but yeah. Those Hellblasters. Fantastic, can't wait to see more of them, and our steam tanks, which also did very, very well, and on top of that, anchored our lines and still had plenty of ammunition and fight left in them. Anyway, with that, we are once again out of time. Some fantastic episodes so close to the, well, not actually close to the end of the campaign quite yet, but getting there. Turn 94. We will be at the endgame scenario before you know it, guys, and all good things will come to an end, and we will not be seeing Karl after this, probably for a while. Yeah. I wonder how long. If I do Empire again at some point, it'll probably be a different lord, let's face it. I mean, I'll put it up to a vote again, but I doubt that everybody's going to vote for Karl again after such a comprehensive campaign as we're doing here. Anyway, as I said, calling it here next time. I feel like there may be a battle or two left to do this this turn, but at the very least, we are going to move everybody around as needed and continue advancing everywhere and prepping the defenses of a few locations, namely here in Albion and then here in the Blood Hall / the adjacent provinces. More Karl to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments, especially so late into the campaign, as that determines how often the episodes are updated. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.